I started coming to Temple Yeshua about 15 years ago. Before I came to Temple Yeshua, because I got help from my family and friends, I gradually came to know Jesus as my Lord. When I started coming to Temple Yeshua, my understanding of the Bible and Jesus began to change. Before I just went to church and didn't really know how to have a good relationship and fellowship with the Lord and people. But when I was reading my Bible, I began to realize the significance of Jesus being Jewish and what that meant when they were in Egypt. As I read more, the Holy Spirit helped me understand more about Israel and the Jewish people. Also, I began to realize more and more I had to rely on God to help me and strengthen me in my faith. As time went on, I realized that God was protecting me from the negative things in this world that would weaken my faith. Also, when I was working at Safeway about 10 years ago, I wanted to switch over and work at Thrifties. I applied there and did not get the job, even though I kept going back to tell them I would want to work for them. But a few years ago, Safeway became Save-On Foods, and since then I even realized that Save-On would be more suitable to work than Thrifties. Even though I was disappointed in not being able to work at that store, the Lord knew that was what was best for me and me continue to work at Save-On. As the word says, God's ways is not our ways. God sees the big picture, and He knows what's going to happen next and how it's going to turn out. He sees like the big picture and not what's happening right now. Something more dramatic also happened to me once. When my doctors recommended that I take a lot of niacin, which would help decrease anxiety and have good benefits. I took what he recommended, but it was too much. It was an overdose. After I took it, I felt nauseated and lost my appetite. My dad did some research and found out that the overdose I took could have been fatal. By the grace of God, He saved me from a serious medical situation. And school wasn't set up for me, so it was difficult for me to be there. But by the grace of God, I knew people through my parents and others who encouraged me, and that encouragement helped me emotionally deal with the problems I was having at school. So once again, Jesus was looking after me, and of course, at this time, my parents had people praying for me, so I began to appreciate the power of prayer. What encouraged me in my faith when I was reading the Word and a verse or verses that speaks to me, for example, Psalm 107 is one of the relevant useful scriptures that I use because it says that tells us that when we reach out to God, He hears us and answers our prayers when we are in trouble. For example, in that Psalm 107, in a desert wasteland, when the Israelites cried out to the Lord in prayer, He answered them by leading them by a straight way to a city where they could settle.